Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Expert Insight series. Today, we're going to be talking about a very new, exciting development and investment opportunity called Oceans Hotel Residence. And many of you know the Oceans Umhlanga area and have seen a lot of construction underway there. So we're going to look at that Oceans development and specifically the hotel residence, which we'll be covering today. Before we get going, I know many of you have participated in our webinars before, but let's run through a little bit of housekeeping. If you look on your chat, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little icon that says chat. That opens up the chat box. So that gives us the opportunity to ask any questions that are relevant, any information that you require. Please pop that question in the chat box and we'll tackle it throughout the course of the webinar this morning. We have a panel of experts that will be discussing the project in the area. And we also have another host of experts that are sitting behind the scenes that are ready to answer any of your questions. Addition to our chat, we're also going to be running a few polls. Those polls are for us to get a better understanding of what your needs are, what you're looking for, and a poll will come up. You can answer the poll. There's one in front of you now. Once you've finished with that poll, just click on the red toggle in the corner and get rid of it. My panelists, it will come up on your screen as well. You can't answer the poll, obviously, but if you could just click on it and remove it out of your line of sight, that will make it a little bit easier for you to participate in the webinar. So let us introduce the panel. Now, I am very, very excited and very, very honored actually to have Nicole Bollman, who is the councillor-elect for Ward 35. She has joined us today to talk about the value of the area, the opportunities that the area is going to be presenting, and just on the heels of having gone through a very, very active and very dramatic local election process. And thank you so much, Nicole, for coming through and joining us. Then we have got the development team. And the development team are going to be discussing the project itself and what the opportunities are. And then, of course, the financing opportunities. So Paul, Erik, and Carol, thank you very much for coming through as well. So let us start. We've got 45 minutes, so let's get going. Perhaps, Nicole, we could really just ask yourself as coming out of this election, knowing more about the area that I'm sure all of us know altogether, if you could give us a little understanding of your vision for Umhlanga during your reign. I don't think reign is the right word.
my term.
Your turn.
No, thank you very much for having me here. Yeah, so this is not my first rodeo. I have been the ward councillor for 25 months and have lived in the suburb for my entire life. So I'm very privy to and very privileged to be serving the community. Obviously, Ward 35, a lot of people don't really have an understanding of where ward boundaries are. So I thought I would just advise that the ward comprises of 8 suburbs. It starts at Virginia, and since the recent election, we moved on. Our demarcation ends at the Harwan Forest, which is the boundary. And all 8 suburbs are really quite affluent by nature. So we've got Virginia, Glen Ashley, Lulusia, the Greater Umhlanga area, which is Somerset Park, well, I suppose Lulusia as well. The top end of Umhlanga Ridge area, Izinga, and Prestondale. For this particular time, I'm going to refer to Umhlanga as the Greater Umhlanga area, which, like I said, comprises of Lulusia, Upper and Lower Umhlanga. So where the oceans are being built, that is Lower Umhlanga, and then obviously we've got where the Gateway precinct is, that's Upper Umhlanga. Quite interestingly, this particular area comprises of about 50, it contributes at least approximately 50% of our rateable taxes to the city. So it's quite vast in size. And we're extremely privileged to have those areas managed by 2 quite substantial management associations. So at the top, you've got the Ridge Management Association, and down the bottom at where the pearls are, obviously, it's the UIP. And that does go a long way in terms of preserving and protecting our environment. Yeah, just from a management perspective. Yeah, so we did discuss infrastructure upgrades. Other than the vast amount of developments, you know, since about 1999, I think the turn of the area was the development of the Gateway Theatre of Shopping, which sort of saw a massive amount of developments being introduced to the area. We've seen a number. I mean, as of today, there's still numerous developments that are going on, mostly up at the ridge side, but obviously down on the Umhlanga Rock side, I would say it is the crown, one of the jewels in the crown of Umhlanga would be the Oceans development. And yeah, these developments are currently taking place. And then I would suppose the biggest infrastructure upgrade in the area would be the road upgrade. It's the pretty much what we've seen, obviously, between the two parts of the suburb, especially coming down into the village area, is a remarkably large amount of traffic. So there will be on Herwood Drive, there will be a development. It's going to be widened to cater for the amount of traffic coming through between the two parts of the suburb. And then it will swing left from sort of Centenary Boulevard, which is that big traffic circle. Will swing left, and Umhlanga Rocks Drive into the village will be widened as well. So that just shows how remarkable and how the developments have impacted this, you know, this once little fishing village that was developed, well, created in about 1800s. So that's all very exciting. Yeah. And then, yeah, so what do we have to offer? Well, like I said just now, Umhlanga pretty much is the jewel of the crown of eThekwini. You know, from a live, work, play, tourism, we comprise of everything. Commerce, we've got, you know, we've created the business precinct, which is Umhlanga Ridge and Lelucia Ridge. So we really have got a lot to offer everybody. And so from an investment perspective, purchasing in Umhlanga really would go a long way. I mean, from a residential perspective, we've got some of the best schools in the area. From an investment perspective, we've got probably the highest rate of tourism, and that's because of the amenities and what we offer, you know, and also the businesses that are in the area. You've got your Derivcos, your Unilevers, and so forth. So it is quite nice for the younger generation to get involved from the live, work, play perspective. Yeah, that's about as much as I've got. Unfortunately, I don't have any more information in terms of infrastructural upgrades. But yeah, very excited to see that the Oceans has continued. It's looking, I've been watching it very closely since I took over from the previous council in 2019. On the ground with the developers, on the ground with the contractors, and even my members from my informal settlement are busy on, you know, part of the development. So, and it's starting to look remarkable. You start seeing what it actually intended to be manifesting in front of your eyes now. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Nicole. Just a question, and one that we didn't really cover in our preamble, so you don't need to answer this, but perhaps you might have some insight. We are going through rolling blackouts at the moment, and Durban has also been hit. Umhlanga has also been hit by that, of course. Do you see anything in the cards around sustainability and sustainable or solar infrastructure or anything like that, which would support the grid in Umhlanga when it comes to power?
Okay, so, you know, obviously, without becoming political, you know, obviously, being a Democratic Alliance councillor, you know, we've got our own visions and views on the matter. Currently, as we sit, we're one of the 66 hung municipalities in terms of who's going to be coming in next as the leading party. And I think it will, you know, hinge vastly on that as to where we go. Unfortunately, having, you know, the rolling backouts not only affecting industries, but I mean, it's also infrastructure in terms of sewage. We've never had this many sewage leaks, spills in forever. So it's impacting quite greatly on the I would say the quality of life and stressing a lot of people out. So I certainly hope, I mean, especially if we look at Umhlanga, there's a lot of flat roofs, there's a lot of environment that we could utilize for solar. But having spoken to the guy that, I actually met the guy that does the switching, so he does exist. Yeah, but there's nothing in the foreseeable future. And also it's budgets. I mean, you know, we talk about infrastructural upgrades. You know, we got to look at where the funds are coming from. So I do hope that in the near future that it is going to be something that will be high on the list of priorities. But I also do believe that it's going to be across the three spheres of government as to how it gets done because of the cost of it.
Absolutely. And I think we see in a large other parts of the country's property developers also sort of spearheading the campaign to supply solar solutions within their individual developments. And I'm sure that the Oceans team look at that as a serious light as other developers across the country. Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing a bit of insight, and congratulations again for being elected. And we look forward to working with you in the coming months and throughout your term.
Thank you very much.
So I think as we move across, let's look at the Oceans development. That's why we're here today. But before we launch into the new residents, I think it's important for us to tackle some of the questions that are on the minds of those of you who are listening or today live or the recording of this webinar. So Paul, who is part of the Ducati development team, thank you so much for coming through. And I'm sorry to put you in the hot seat, but I'm going to ask you the hard question, which is, could you give us a little bit of understanding of what's been happening on the Oceans? A lot of investors came on board in 2016, and there's been a number of delays. And perhaps we could just answer that question, address that elephant in the room before we move on with the opportunities.
Sure, Louise, thank you for the opportunity. Not a problem. So the development company is called Ducatus Property Group. I think you said Ducati, which is fine. So there have been a number of events over the construction phase, which has caused some temporary stoppages in construction at the Oceans Umhlanga project. Some of these events were unforeseen, force majeure events that, you know, sometimes out of our control, COVID being one of them. In the first instance, when construction was stopped, it had to do with illegal business forums that have impacted other developments within the province, as well as now the rest of South Africa. The developments obtained a court interdict against these business forums, and, you know, we carried on and got through that. Then we had some issues with stoppages due to the liquidation of one of our main JV contractors on site. And then we went through a second round of JV contractors going into business rescue just nearly 6 months later. So, you know, this causes like a start-stop events to happen. And these developments are a development with the stature of the Oceans Umhlanga development has a lot of moving parts. I don't know that people always appreciate the amount of people involved and coordination required. So yeah, then given the state of the construction industry currently in South Africa, we, together with our banks, have performed extensive due diligence on the next contractor before we appointed them, to not have to run into similar issues again. And we believe that we're on a good wicket now. I mean, everyone can see progress happening. The building is just a couple of weeks away from being completely closed and sort of waterproofed so that we can start internal works. And we've employed some accelerated building programs so that we can try and catch up for all of the lost time that we've had to date. And we're proud to say that since being able to start again on site, WBHO have performed extremely well. And we're actually having a topping out function at the hotel today, because we've now reached our height. So yeah.
So the hotel itself is a Radisson Blu Hotel, is that correct?
Yeah, we've got a Radisson Blu Hotel going in, and then there are 10 stories of that tower at the very top that are hotel apartments that are for sale to the general public.
And so so if you live in Durban, and I was there 2 weeks ago having a look, that is the tower that is completed, and where's everything else that you see forms part of the shopping center. Is that correct? With the other 2 towers still on the cards?
Yes, that's correct. And what we're hoping to do is to, what we're aiming for currently, and what is still on track, is excuse me, a soft launch of the Radisson Hotel in March 2022, with the apartments above them, those 10 floors I spoke of earlier, being handed over to buyers in April 2022. And then later in the year, around November, the date we have is 1 November, for the shopping center, for the mall to launch.
Okay, so it's really now coming fast out of the ground.
Absolutely.
So let us have a look at what this top section, or the Oceans Hotel residence, is going to offer us. We've got a lovely video that I would like to play. If Clem, you could pop that on so we can all see what to expect. Thank you so much, Clem. So, Paul, looking at the video that we played, so you mentioned the top 10 floors, is that correct? That will then be converted into hotel apartments. What is your vision for these hotel apartments?
Yeah, yes, it's a top 10 floors. I think there are 90 units in total. And, the vision is to, I think Louise touched on this earlier when she spoke about work, live, play. And I think Carol will also be able to add a little bit more from our sales perspective with the vision that is being seen for those apartments. But it is to have residents live there in the heart of Umhlanga, with all these amenities that we are creating around them, and the services that they might be able to share in from the hotel side of things. It's just going to be an awesome place to stay.
Louise, can I interject quickly?
Yes, please, Carol.
So, I think what makes the Oceans product completely unique is that we are tapping into a 5-star Radisson Blu Hotel right on the Umhlanga beachfront in the heart of the Chartwell village. So you're living what's become so popular in Europe and the rest of the world, is you've got that beautiful mixed use living experience where you've got your 5-star apartment, which for our Johannesburg investors has been really appealing, because you can put it into a short-term letting option, block off the dates that you want to come down and spend your holidays in Durban, and then it goes into a fantastic little investment opportunity where the rates in Umhlanga, we're talking 5-star Radisson Blu. So you're competing with the likes of the Oyster Box and the Beverly Hills Hotel and Radisson. So those will be the top 3 in Umhlanga and arguably in KZN, to be quite honest. And with Oceans being brand new and high tech, I think it's really going to hold its own. So your returns, if you look at your daily returns, I mean, we've been really conservative because we never like to overshoot the mark, but we anticipate you would get a minimum of 2,000 Rand a night on your 1-bedroom, 3,500 to 4,000 Rand on your 2-bedroom. So, and the occupancy rates in this node of Umhlanga are extremely high. It's one of the most popular tourist destinations. And in fact, I think it is the most popular tourist destination in KZN. So you're in the best investment mode. So yes, we're pitching it as potentially end user full residential living, but actually it's such a brilliant investor product. So already we've seen at least 50% of our purchases are our Johannesburg investors. I mean, I just don't think you can really find a better product right now in our area.
And I think that's very relevant and what we would need to maybe, and Erik will cover that a little bit in his discussion as well around the product, is what is that option? Can you add it into a rental pool? Who manages it and services that rental? Is it part of the hotel rental? Can you Airbnb it out? And these are the kind of questions that are definitely been coming from our attendees and our audience wanting to know about exactly how we're going to look at that rental. Perhaps, Erik, you could jump on to showing us a little bit more about the hotel itself and or the residence itself. And then, Nicole, we can chat about the financial models and the opportunities that it will offer. Sorry, Carol, we can chat about the financial opportunities. Clem, would you mind putting on the presentation for me?
All right, so next slide, please, Clem. And again, so basically Oceans is an amazing project. It's what I like to refer to as a mega project. It's a full mixed-use development, which in a nutshell consists of 3 components, which is the shopping mall, so with 86 stores, 440 apartments or residential apartments, a 205 key 5-star Radisson Blu Hotel, and then, like Paul was referring to earlier on, we have 92 apartments that sit above the Radisson Blu Hotel. So the 90 is made up of 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, and then the 2 are 2 penthouses that sit right at the top. If you want to just go to the next slide, please, Clem. Okay. So just in terms of the Radisson Blu, you know, the hotel residents, as owners of the hotel residences, you'll have access to all the amenities and facilities that we were talking about earlier on, of which the list is endless. You know, like Carol said, we are right in the centre of Umhlanga, right on Chartwell Drive, and literally, you know, stone's throw away from the beach. Fine dining restaurants, full business centre, serviced apartments if you wish. Obviously, state-of-the-art security. There's a full entertainment terrace with views that stretch on for miles, conference facilities. You know, you can see the list, a fully equipped gym, ample security, obviously a direct link into that shopping mall itself. Just in terms of the lifts, so the Radisson Blu will be serviced by the lifts which are contained within inside the actual building itself, whereas you'll have a separate lift for the hotel apartments, which are on the outside, which are panoramic lifts on the outside of the building. And there's just some visuals of the porte cochere coming in at the top there, the terrace, the business lounge, and then obviously the gym over there. You want to go to the next slide, please? So what we'll do is just go through the various different floor plans. This is obviously a top view of the shape of the building, and the architect has cleverly designed the apartments that wrap it all the way around. So where you see the front of the building, that literally looks down the Whalebone Pier, which is a very famous pier in Durban. So you've got this unobstructed view right down the Whalebone Pier overlooking the ocean. And obviously with the hotel apartments only starting on floor 17, your views are unobstructed, absolutely incredible. So you have views to the left, to the south and to the north. Obviously your view to the south would consist of a view over La Lucia and going all the way across to Durban city itself, which at night time is going to be spectacular with all the city lights on and that. And then the north view stretches all the way up the north coast, so you overlook Umhlanga Rocks, and and I'm slowly and then going further up. So like I said, 10 units per floor. There are 7 one-bedroom, one-bath units and 3 two-bedroom, two-bath units. Cameron, if you just want to go to the next slide for me. So we have various different apartments. Unit type A, sorry, I just need to plug in my computer quickly, which is a 1-bed, 1-bath, 47 square meter plus a balcony. So all the hotel apartments do have substantial balconies. Next, please. Unit type B is also 1-bed, 1-bath, 48 squares plus a balcony of 17 square meters. Next. Unit type C, also 1-bed, 1-bath, 43 with an 18 square meter balcony. So these are all the north-facing units. Next. And then unit type D, which is a 1-bed, 1-bath, 44 square meters with a balcony of 19 squares. And then next. And then this is that front unit, which is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So a generous size at 77 square meters with a 24 square meter balcony. So these are the front two. Cameron, if you just want to pop through the next one. So the following are obviously mirrored from the north side view. These are all the south side viewing ones. So just go up to unit J, please. There we go. So on the north-facing side, we have 1-bedrooms traveling all the way down the side of the building through to that front unit. And then on the south-facing side, we've put in a 2-bedroom unit at the back, which again is a 2-bed, 2-bath, 75 square meters with a 14 square meter balcony. So this again would have that beautiful view going across La Lucia into the Durban city centre, and obviously at night, you know, you'd have a beautiful view of it. Just pop to the next one. So obviously with Oceans, we have an on-site sales centre, which is literally across the road from the development itself. It is open 7 days a week. You are able to call or WhatsApp. The telephone number is there. And you can obviously go and visit our website as well and register your interests and start your Oceans journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Erik. Thank you. It looks stunning. It looks absolutely stunning. I mean, I think that everyone who's seen any of the imagery or any of the information with regards to Oceans has been in awe of it since its onset, since 2016. So it really does look quite stunning. I think what we need to look at is if we are interested in purchasing a unit, what is the process from here? We know Pam Golding is managing the sales process in its entirety. Is that correct, Carol?
Yes. We are exclusively managing the developments. We've got a dedicated development sales team who work exclusively on developments. So they are there full time, 7 days a week in the Oceans Sales Centre, which is literally across the road from the Oceans construction site. So very easy for you to pop in, have a look, and they can stand there and show you exactly where your apartment will be located in the building. We've got a full showroom there, so you can look at all the floor plates, you can sit with them, ask them whatever you'd like to ask. And the process is quite simple. We require a 30,000 Rand plus VAT reservation fee. So that reservation fee will be paid upfront, and it will enable you to secure the particular unit of your choice. Once you've reserved that unit, we take it off the availability schedule. So we hold it for you for a couple of days to enable you to then go through the sale agreement, which, like all development contracts, is quite lengthy. So a lot of our clients will take the agreement, have their attorneys check it out, and that normally takes a couple of days. Once you're happy with everything, you'll sign your contract. Upon signature of the agreement, 100,000 Rand deposit is due and payable. The attorneys who are handling the conveyancing are Garlick and Barsfield. We will liaise with them. We'll put you in touch with them. So your deposit will be payable to Garlick and Barsfield, obviously held in trust. The interest will accrue to you. So all very transparent. And then you will pay the balance of your 10 or 15% deposit within 21 days. Once the deposit is in, then you have two options. You can either secure bond finance, and you've got 30 days to get your bond in place. We have managed to get just about all the banks on board for financing the Oceans development. So at this point, I just want to interject and let you know that we aren't running a rental pool. And there's a reason behind this, and that is that the banks actually don't favor rental pool investments. And to be quite frank, our investors make more money when they are able to have a service product that they can then handle themselves in terms of the short-term letting. So we do have an Airbnb option for everybody. We've actually got a team who manages all our Airbnb investment products. So the nice thing about this product is that you're not forced into a hotel rental pool, but you have all the bells and whistles of having your hotel apartment managed and serviced by Radisson Blu, which you can elect to have, and then you can run your own rentals over and above that. So it really kind of ticks all the boxes and gives you the best investment returns possible. And then coming back to the financing. So in terms of the banks, ABSA, Standard Bank and Nedbank are all on board, as well as Investec. Investec obviously deals on a client basis. And we will put you in touch with Uber, our bond consultants, who can then pitch your loan and your agreement to all of the banks to try and secure the best rate for you. So we will handle all of that, take all of that stress away from you, so that it's a seamless process. And because we're dealing with so many investor buyers, we actually do a lot of these sales sight unseen. So we are well equipped to manage everything for you from start to finish, and our development team is highly professional, highly successful. We've sold out a number of developments in the KZN region, and we are the development market leaders. So you are in very good hands. I've got a fantastic team, and you'll love working with them.
That's great. So can I just backtrack slightly? I just want to go back to what you mentioned around the rental. So I can purchase my unit. Is there a furnishing guideline? So I furnish to the spec of the hotel. Is that correct?
In fact, thanks for raising that, Louise. So what we've actually got is we've got a furnishing package that we've put together through Sutherland's, and you have the option of actually just buying one of the furniture packages so that it's a completely hassle-free investment. Sutherland's will furnish it for you, and it is in accordance with the hotel specs. So they're not exactly the same as the hotel units. They're actually quite funky and trendy, and I think our furniture packages are amazing, but it's in line with that sort of 5-star luxury look and feel. So again, we'll take all of that stress away from you. It'll all be done for you. And then you've got your beautiful furnished apartments.
So I've purchased my unit and I purchase the furnishings with it. I go through the necessary depositing process. If I want to put my unit, so my options when it comes to rental is to Airbnb it out, or to use a digital platform for short-term rental. Or do I have the option to go approach the hotel to add it in, or is that not an option for me?
So at this stage, it may become an option, but at this stage, we're still preferring having our own platform to run the hotel letting. So that's where we are at the moment. But the developers they're continuously working with Radisson for different ideas and pitching different concepts. So I'm sure at any stage, these things can also migrate over time. And ultimately, as the development matures, we may find this is working best for our investors. And so I think it's always, you've always got to have quite an open mind with these products. And as long as we work together with the Radisson Blu Hotel, we will come up with a solution that suits all parties.
And then you mentioned if I do choose to do a short-term renting myself, I then have a third option, which would be to have Pam Golding manage that short-term rental for me. So because the last thing I want to be doing is checks on short-term rental people who want to come down for the weekend. Yes. So that whole process could be managed for me.
We work with a company that does all our short-term Airbnb letting, and They know how to use the platform so that your investment products are right at the top, that you get all your 5-star ratings, that you get your good reviews. So they manage that. They know how to work the system for our investors' benefits, and we work with them on all our projects. So absolutely hassle-free for our clients.
So the alternative to that then is, if I'm an investor and I actually would like to settle, I'm retiring and I want to, I don't want to retire out into the middle of the country where I'm not going to be enjoy the theatre and the, the attractions and restaurants, etc. And I would like to retire to the Umhlanga area. So this will become my permanent residence. What are my options there? I follow the same transactional process as if I was by any other buyer, but can I then bring in my own decor and how the unit as I want?
So the finance package will remain as is, with your reservation fee, then your 100,000 Rand deposit, then your 10 to 15% deposit, and then bond or guarantees or cash for the balance. But as an end user, you are welcome to do your own decor. So the nice thing about this product is it does accommodate a full spectrum of buyers. It's a very flexible product. You can use your unit for whatever works for you. And there's no obligation. You don't have to tie into the service department option with the Radisson. If you want to do your own servicing of your apartment, that's entirely up to you. So you've got choices there. You've got choices as to whether you want to buy into our Airbnb solution or whether you want to do that yourself. You've got choices in terms of whether you'd like a long-term tenant. Maybe you prefer the consistency of just having a long-term tenant. Pam Golding can handle that for you as well. And then obviously, if you'd like to live and just enjoy this 5-star lifestyle, what a pleasure. Then that's
so from a management perspective, does the actual units themselves fall into what a body corporate and are the homeowners then the trustees, and they're governed by a set of rules?
Absolutely. So it falls under the normal Sectional Titles Act. So all the normal rules that apply to sectional title do apply to this. You will own your section entirely and it's yours. It's not linked to the hotel legally in any way.
And then just regarding parking, is parking available as well is there parking allocated to the unit?
Yes.
Erik mentioned something to me in the preamble which sounded extremely exciting. The penthouses. The penthouses are what he said, a grey box, and you can choose. What does that mean? Because I thought I could creatively flex there. What is the idea behind the penthouses?
So that's exactly it. With that caliber of purchaser, those purchasers generally want to customize their units. So what the developers have come up with is this grey box concept, which is essentially almost like a first fix, where they do the structure for you and then you work in conjunction with the architect and with the development team to come up with your finishes, even your layout, which is really nice. So, you may want an ultra big master suite and then a smaller second or third bedroom. So they give you the space and then you can work with them to customize your unit to your needs.
So the current pricing model at the moment, so a 1-bedroom unit is starting from 3.25, is that correct?
That's right. So yeah, so from around 3.3 up to 4.2 for the 1 beds. And then your 2 beds are mid-5s up to 6.9. 5.685 exactly.
And your penthouse?
Your penthouses, we're looking at about 30 million per penthouse, and there are 2 of them. And then obviously the specs and the internal finishes over and above that. So yeah, and the exciting thing, and this really gives an endorsement to the Oceans Hotel development and to Umhlanga, is that we've already got 2 buyers that are pursuing discussions with the developers around those penthouses. So that just gives you an indication of the caliber, the caliber of investor who's looking at this area. We always brag about the fact that Umhlanga has become the semigration destination for SA, and we have a lot of semigrators from Joburg who want to invest here, who enjoy our lifestyle. In fact, COVID has almost accelerated that process because people are realizing they don't have to be stuck in an office all week. They can come and live the beautiful Umhlanga lifestyle, pop back to Joburg for a couple of days a week, and then come back down for the weekends. So it's really boosted our coastal lifestyle, which bodes well for a development of this caliber. And like I said, it's really exciting that we've already got investors looking at these penthouse units.
Carol, just a couple of questions. Regarding the festive season is coming. A lot of folks are coming down over the festive season. Will the offices be open for folks to visit?
Absolutely, we're open 24/7, and our poor agents work very hard while everybody else is partying.
Okay, and then so it's open. There'll be access to any of the information that is required, and then looking at the area, and perhaps maybe Nicole might also come in on this, because as we come to the end of the webinar, you mentioned to me when we were chatting that Umhlanga is becoming more and more populated, and so the scope for these types of development is decreasing just because of the lack of land that's available. You probably have a bit of an inside track. Do you see Oceans as being the last of this type of investment in the area, from a management or from an area perspective?
Yes, I would say absolutely. There is on Lower Umhlanga, there is no usable land left, unless one of the current property owners decide to refurb or revamp their current structure. It is quite, like I said, it's the final piece of the puzzle in my view, in Lower Umhlanga. Obviously, Upper Umhlanga, it's a bit of a free for all, but it's also coming to an end, with further development happening more east in Cornubia and towards the airport. So yeah, this is going to be exclusive, and it's going to be, honestly, like I said just now, it's, for me, it's the jewel of the crown in Umhlanga. It's going to be the centerpiece and something very special to behold.
Absolutely, I think it's definitely center, and the way in which the development is now coming out of the ground, folks can really see that progression. So if you are, thank you so much to everyone. Before we close up, if you are looking at making an investment, as Carol has mentioned, there is an opportunity here. The team is available to discuss the various, I know there's a lot of questions that have come in on the chat room, parking, rules, regulations, opportunities, etc. And the team is standing by, and thank you to the Pam Golding team in the back end that are answering those questions as we go through the webinar. This is also recorded, so you can go through the content again yourself at your own leisure. And we will share the details of all the panelists. We did send out some polls. If you would like the Pam Golding team to get hold of you, please feel free to let us know. You can contact, pop it in the chat room box now, contact myself, Louise at Estate-Living, or speak to the team. Their details will appear with this webinar. Folks, well done and congratulations, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. Our 45 minutes go so quickly, but I think that based on the comments that are coming in, that this really does look like an opportunity for an investment in the area, one that has a return. And I think that would be, maybe Nicole, you could, maybe Carol, you could end this discussion with just that question. What do you foresee that return being for investors?
So we very conservatively are expecting returns of around 8% per annum, which when you consider normal residential properties, we work on returns of maybe 6% if you're lucky. So already you're in with a better return. And over and above that, we project good capital growth for this investment. Alluding to what Nicole said, this is the last investment of this type that will be available in Umhlanga ever. So in terms of supply and demand, there is going to be no further supply of a product like this. So if this is a type of 5-star investment that you're looking for, this really is your only opportunity to get into this prime beachfront node in Umhlanga. So I think the capital growth over time will be fantastic. In actual fact, our buyers who purchased in the initial phases in 2016 have already seen exceptional growth. So they've held on, they're delighted. They've held on to their product and they're already seeing the growth. So you're going to get the rental returns, you're going to get the capital appreciation, and you're going to have a 5-star product that's already won international awards for its architecture. So it's going to be that iconic development in Umhlanga for time immemorial.
And just to wrap it up, how many units do you still have available? Just so folks can get and understand that there is an urgency to this, and if they would like to be involved, perhaps they should contact you sooner rather than later.
So we're over 60% sold already. So and we've only gone into our public launch recently. So they are moving quickly now, and there is limited supply because there are only a few 2-bedroom units as well. They're moving fast. So I would encourage you, if you're interested, contact Pam Golding Properties. We'll share the number with all of you at the end of the webinar, and get in touch with our dev team. You can pop into the office so that you can get a real sense of what's coming. You can look at the development progress, which will blow you away. It's gone so quickly since Paul and his team have got involved. Brilliant developers. I've known them for years. I'm an old Maritzburg girl, and Rob actually knew my parents for generations and generations. So I can personally endorse our development team, which is fantastic. It's not often that you have that real personal connection. So it's going great guns.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you to everybody for being here today. And again, congratulations, Nicole. And we look forward to seeing more on Oceans and more prosperity for the Umhlanga Award 35. Clem, if you'd like to play that video, that'll be great.